Right, in this video, I'm going to show you how to create a 3D shape in Illustrator and then export it and import it into Adobe Dimension. So I've got Illustrator open and I've got Dimension open, and I've also downloaded an image here. We're going to bring this in and I'm going to sort of like put a shape on here, a coffee cup or something like that. We'll do that later. This is just Unsplash. And I just did a search for cafe table, and here's the image you can see on my desktop. Play around, and I've saved my Illustrator file already, although there's nothing in it. Now I've customized my Illustrator interface so it'll look a little bit different to yours. Do make sure though, go to Window and Workspace and do select Essentials Classic, and if necessary reset Essentials Classic, because you'll get the options and the setup, which gives you a lot of information. I mean, at the end of the day, you can do precisely what you want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a rectangle, something like this, and I'll click on the little circles here. Now, these are the corner widgets. Normally, I switch these off. You can see we've got one per corner. There's only 4 corners for a rectangle. But if you can't see them, go to the View menu, and about halfway downish, mine says Hide Corner Widget because they're visible. If yours is hidden, it'll say Show Corner Widget. And all I need to do is click and drag because I want it a nice round corner. You see something like that. If you want to, if I click on the white arrow tool, click off and click on one corner, you see only one circle appears. So I can just do one corner if that's what I want. But I'm going to do the whole lot and click and drag. So we've got something like this. Nothing complicated. This is going to be like a top of something, or it could be a floor, whatever it is for an exhibition, whatever you want, a ceiling or a floor or both. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it a 3D shape. There's an effect in the effects panel here, or the effects menu. Go down to 3D and materials, and we're going to extrude and bevel in a minute. But first thing is I'm going to give it not a black stroke. We've got a black stroke and a white fill. So I'm going to change that. I'm going to fill it with some color, and I will fill, or I will do the stroke as a darker version. Black and white doesn't give you generally a good result. So color the stroke and fill. So I'll go to Effect, 3D Materials, Extrude and Bevel. We're going to do an extrude. There you go. You see? And if I roll over this little circle here, you can see it changes. So I can rotate here, move it around. Or in the 3D and Materials panel, I can change the depth here. And I want it something like that. I'm just guessing. And I could twist it if I want, which I don't. And you could play around with taper. There's not much of a point though. Let's increase that and decrease taper. So you can get something like that. But I will leave it down, and let's reduce the depth to something like that. I do want to cap it because otherwise I'll end up with a hole, as it were. I'm not going to bother about beveling. It's too thin. So I'm not going to worry about that. And don't worry about the size, because when we bring it into Dimension, we can resize it. It's not a problem. But this gives me the sort of thing I want. In fact, let's make it a tiny bit deeper. Oh, it's a bit tricky sometimes. There you go. I'll do a quick save. Always save your work before you export. Now, this is selected. It's a 3D object. It's still a 3D object. I haven't expanded it. It's not a shape or anything else like that. Do check, do remember, under the window menu, and one of the most important panels is called Appearance. And in the Appearance panel here at the bottom, you see here's our 3D and Materials effect, and I can hide it and I can show it. And if I want to change it, if I just close this, for example, I can click on 3D and Materials, see, and it pops up. By the way, I can also add a material, but I'm going to do this in Dimension. I can also add a graphic on here, but again, I'll do this in Dimension. So I will go back to Object, leave this open. and I will go to File. And because it's selected near the bottom, I can choose Export Selection, which means I could have 100 items here, but only what I've selected will export. So I'll click on that. There it is, one asset. I'll go on the desktop. I could click on the folder icon and choose another folder. And the format is important. If I click on the drop down here, I don't want PNG, JPEG. This is not going to be an image or something. And OBJ is fine. OBJ is fine. That's a 3D format, and export. I don't care about color managing, so I'll leave it alone. Boom. And there it is on my desktop. We have an OBJ and we have an MTL, a material. Save that, hide that, and there we go. You see these two go together, asset1 or whatever you want to call it, .obj, asset1, .mtl. So let's now jump to Dimension. I'll create a new document. Here we go. Wait a few seconds. It's not the fastest application in the world. Using my scroll wheel, and let's go to File, Import 3D Model. Wait, let's go to the desktop, and you can see the only one that's highlighted is OBJ. The material will come in, but I'm not importing the material, I'm importing the OBJ, the object. Click on Open, and there we go. Now, the arrows are for dragging up and down. The cubes are for scaling. Notice it scales all of them at once, as in it's not just in one direction, it will scale X, Y, and Z, and that's fine for the moment. And the circles, the little spheres, are for rotating. Let me undo that. I'm right mouse clicking and dragging around, you see, so we've got like a thickness there. But if I want this as a ceiling or a floor, then I've got to rotate it, and I will rotate it around the red axis, as you can see, which is X. And as I move it around, you can see on the right hand side, X rotation is changing, you see. So I can drag it around. I'm going to hold the Shift key down so it sort of jumps in, I think it's 15-degree increments. There we go. So I want it. Let's have a look. See, it's not going precisely. Oh, no, I think that should be. No, you see, it's not quite precise what I want. So what I will do is I'll go to rotation here. Let's say 90. There you go. That's what we want. And I will drag it. The center is where these thick lines cross. So I'll drag it somewhere like that. Right mouse, holding right mouse on my mouse and moving it around, you see. And you can see the symbol of the cursor. This is this tool up here, you see. I generally use the shortcuts, but this is Orbit. And we've got other things we can do as well, but Orbit is for moving around. Now, you can see it's not on the floor, and I want it exactly on the floor. If I go to the Object menu, there's all sorts of things I can do, but one of them is Move to Ground. So I'll click on that, and bingo. This is my floor. Now I'm middle mouse or my scroll wheel. I'm holding my scroll wheel. So click and hold on the scroll wheel and drag. There you go. You see I'm moving around. And hold my right mouse button and move around like that. Now, before I make a copy, so this is a floor, and I also want a ceiling. It's a bit thick. So if I drag the blue cube, you can see it all gets bigger. So if I hold the Shift key and drag the blue cube, see, it only gets thinner. You see, so I'm only changing one dimension. But what size is this? Because there's nothing here that tells us scale. I haven't imported anything for a scale. So on the right-hand side, let's look at properties. We see we're in properties. Here's the asset. It's in a folder, so it's grouped. And if I expand it, and I can click on separate items that make up the group, but I'm fine. I just want asset 1. And we're in properties here, transform. We're not playing around with the position, which are the arrows. You see, if I drag the arrows, see, this is Z. The green arrow is Z, you see, and it's changing on the right here. Rotation, we've already seen for X. Scale, we could do. Size is what I'm looking at now. Now, the chain here indicates if I change one, I'm just clicking and dragging on the number. See, it all changes in proportion, and I'll let go. See, it all changes in proportion. Don't click, because then you'll have to type in a number. Click off. Just immediately when you roll over, click and drag. Now, I'm guessing on a size, so a normal human male is about 1 meter 80, something like that. Here we've got 84 centimeters. So if I say 180, just type in, just click on it, return, and you can see, let's zoom out now. I'm using my scroll wheel here, holding my middle mouse button down and dragging. So I've got a size in X of 180 centimeters. And I'm just guessing here, but if this is the height of a person and this is a floor, that sort of tells you, oh, let's click off. There you go. That sort of tells you how wide it is. This is like the size of a person lying down. And that's too small. Y, if I click and drag, see, it's all getting, so I need to undo that. Click on the chain here by size, click and drag on Y, and you can see getting it bigger. So let's say if I want, let's say 2 meters, 200 centimeters, boom, you can see it's quite large. And let's say 400 centimeters length. You get the idea. 4 meters length or width, depending on how you look at it, 2 meters. The depth, the thickness, let's put this at 1 centimeter. And this is my floor. This is what's going on. Now, notice as well, the pivot, which is the black circle here, is set to bottom, and I can change it to top. Because don't forget, this is come in vertical, you see. So that's the top. And if I do center, you see, so that might be a bit better. And I'll click and drag on the green arrow. There you go, something like that. You get the idea. Now, if this is the floor, 4 meters by 2 meters by a centimeter, I want a similar thing, well, the same thing as a ceiling or a roof. And all I've got to do is copy it. So hold down Option or Alt, drag the blue arrow. There you go. See, blue arrow up. Thank you very much. Let go. And there we go. And if we look at position, it's Y is the height, and I can drag on that. It's a bit slow though. Okay, let's say a height of 3 meters, so 300. There you go. And now I need to zoom out. There you go, see? So that might be too big. If a person is under 2 meters, well, that's 3 meters, you know, that might be fine. To say, that's what I want. Middle mouse or scroll wheel, hold scroll wheel, drag for panning, right mouse, and drag, just hold it, and move around, and so on and so forth. And that's how you import something from Illustrator. You can, of course, go online and download all sorts of 3D objects. And you can see on the left-hand side here, we've got all sorts of things as well. So if I quickly bring in, say, what do we got? Let's say, let's do the stool. I can just click on that, and there you go. And if you look at the size, if this is a stool for someone to sit on, so you can see the proportions, you can see the space we have and the height as well. I haven't got a figure that's sitting down, although I could do, I might import one later. But that's the sort of size. And if we look at that here, we can see Y is the height. So, you know, just under 70 centimeters. And of course, don't forget to save.